I think another myth that's out there when we talk about women and testosterone is that they're going to get too big and bulky like a man. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to happen. Testosterone we give you is bioidentical. It is not what the bodybuilders, the big ones that use in the gym, that's more anabolic.
Well, and they're using synthetic hormones, not bioidentical, and that's key to understand.
That's not what's going to happen. You're not going to get these big muscles. You're not going to grow a penis. You're not going to become a man. And
that's very important to understand. But we do get asked that.
You just feel good. You feel like more energy. You just feel great. Welcome to Look Good, Feel Good with Matt and Amy McKinley, the podcast where we bring you expert advice and honest, real talk on health, wellness, and feeling your absolute best. From hormone optimization to aesthetics and everything in between, we're here to help you live your best life. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Look Good and Feel Good with Matt and Amy. I'm Amy.
And I'm Matt. Yes, you guessed it again.
Anyway, today we are busting some major myths about testosterone. You know, spoiler alert, it's not just a man's hormone. It's my absolute favorite hormone.
Yeah, you're going to get to hear Amy's love story with testosterone and actually my love for Amy's love story for testosterone. Yeah, it's important to understand that testosterone helps both men and women. Oftentimes we don't hear about it in women, but it's super important as it is for men. And the way to use it is to get the proper balance.
So I'm 52. I'm not in menopause yet. Menopause runs around, 52, 53, and it's basically diagnosed FSH over 50 and 1 year without a period. However, I've had a hysterectomy, so I don't know when I don't have periods anymore. So right now I'm not on estradiol, so I'm still making some, but adding testosterone into my regimen has made such a difference. I've worked out in the gym forever and ever. We've worked out forever.
Yeah, we've always been gym rats, even when we didn't feel good.
Yeah, trying to build muscle. And it's interesting how since I've started on some testosterone at the levels that I feel good at, I've been able to develop muscle. Like I've never had a bicep before. Now I feel like, oh geez, look at the tricep and bicep. And
yeah, she's pretty proud of herself. You can see
and
that.
it's not like you're going to get big, huge muscles, either like bodybuilding muscles. It's a nice muscle. Something else I've noticed, my sex drive going up. It's much improved.
We all like that.
Yeah, and I'm sleeping better. I have more mental clarity. It's just, it also helps with weight loss. And I just feel like optimizing my testosterone has been a game changer for me anyway.
Yeah, I will echo Amy. I've seen her transformation, and probably even up to 10 years ago, we experimented around with it a little bit with her, but we never seemed to get it dialed in very good. She would feel good for a while, then bad for a while. She used pellets at one point, which really didn't work well. They spike and then they drop, and it's hard to go ahead. You can tell.
No, I'm just saying it's one of those things where I think I've tried every type of testosterone there is. I've done oral. Back in my 30s, the doctor I worked, my OBGYN, prescribed me some oral testosterone, which we know is not the best way to give it. Also, I've done pellets, I've done creams, I've done injections. And it's funny because when I was doing pellets, I have scars all over my behind from all the pellets insertions that I've had, but I always felt really good right when they placed them.
For a short time,
for like
that was
a week
or
two. So that's where I look back and I'm like, I probably felt better at that higher level because that's what happens is you get a spike of it. And I always felt better there than I did 2 months or even a month later. So injections, I prefer injections just because it's a better way to control it, and you can dial it in a little bit better.
And once you get it dialed in, you can keep it there. And a lot of women don't know much about testosterone, and there's a lot of myths out there that, it's bad, but no, it can be really good for so many things, including not just libido, but bone quality, muscle quality, brain fog, feeling good, more energy, more assertiveness. Just the list really goes on.
I agree. We women don't make a lot of testosterone on our own. And so sometimes that's why implementing it to where you feel good, we find your dose for you. There's a lot of research out there even showing that testosterone helps prevent breast cancer. It helps to suppress the breast cells from proliferating, and actually even better than tamoxifen, which I know tamoxifen is a medication women that have had breast cancer actually take for 5 years, usually typically after having breast cancer, to suppress estrogen. And testosterone actually works even better at suppressing that than even tamoxifen. So I don't know why we're not using more testosterone than we are doing tamoxifen. Just don't know. I don't know why.
It's interesting when we interview patients and we go through their labs, it almost correlates if they're having certain symptoms. We see that in low testosterone levels in their labs. So women are definitely way underdiagnosed of having low testosterone. The lab values on a sheet or just on a lab are all over the place. So again, as we mentioned with thyroid, it's more about each individual dialed into where they feel the best and keeping them there.
And for men, testosterone affects literally everything. And, energy, confidence, sex drive, focus, motivation. There's a big myth that testosterone causes prostate cancer. And that is false. In fact, low levels of testosterone are indicated of
more linked to prostate cancer. It's pretty obvious. Think about it. Do young men that have high testosterone levels get prostate cancer?
No.
Correct. They don't. So testosterone levels or getting your levels dialed in will help support your muscle mass. It'll help you burn fat easier, increase your metabolism, and become more motivated. That's one thing I hear a ton of people talk about is motivation. They'll say, hey, I used to love to go outdoors all the time and go and play with my kids after work. Now I just hit the couch and I'm done. In fact, just today I talked to a doctor. He says he's going to come and see me. But he said, dude, he's an anesthesiologist. And he calls me dude. He was like, hey, dude, when I get home from work, I'm done. I just want to hit the couch and have no one bother me. I felt like that at one point too, but I hear that all the time. When you get that dialed in, it just brings back a much better quality of life.
Yeah. And I think also with men, we talk about insurance and testosterone. Insurance doesn't pay for women's testosterone, which I think is bullcrap. Men can get insurance to cover it if their testosterone levels are under 200, which is considered hypogonadal, which is ridiculous. Men feel better at higher levels and protective of prostate cancer at higher levels. So insurance companies are wrong in this whole field. That's why we don't accept insurance at our office, because a lot of times they dictate what we can do and we know it's not right. And I know that's not fair. However, that is how it is.
Yeah. Our battle against insurance companies, I guess we got to a point where we're tired of being dictated how we should treat patients. We want to treat patients to help them live a better life, not just treat a symptom. We want to get to the underlying cause of the symptom and correct that.
Yeah.
And Amy was mentioning these lab numbers. On a lab chart, normal testosterone for a man is dictated somewhere between about 280 and 1100. I will tell you right now, and this is through experience with myself and hundreds of patients that I've helped, when those levels get below 500 or even 600, most men just don't feel good. They feel lethargic, they feel brain fog, and they're tired of it. So we, again, optimize them to where they feel the best. We check labs to make sure everything is safe, but it's not about hitting a specific number. It's about getting each person dialed in specifically.
I think another myth that's out there when we talk about women and testosterone is that they're going to get too big and bulky like a man. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to happen. Testosterone that we give you is bioidentical. It is not what the bodybuilders, the big ones that use in the gym, that's more anabolic.
Well, and they're using synthetic hormones, not bioidentical, and that's key to understand.
That's not what's going to happen. You're not going to get these big muscles. You're not going to grow a penis. You're not going to become a man. And
that's very important to understand. But we do get asked that.
You just feel good. You feel like more energy. You just feel great. And when we're dosing testosterone for women, I dose it to where they feel good. However, there are some side effects that sometimes come along with testosterone. One thing can be acne, and no woman wants acne. So we can treat the acne. If they feel good at this level but are getting acne, let's treat the acne. I can treat the acne. Number two, I don't want you getting a beard or hair growth where you don't want it. And that is very treatable too. So there are ways to treat these things if you like your levels where they're at.
There's basically an adjustment period. Some people have zero side effects. In fact, probably most don't. have side effects, but there's an adjustment period with some people. And we know how to treat those side effects along the road so you don't have to stop feeling good. We can get you looking good and feeling good. Another myth I'd like to talk about is hair loss. Now, you see that? Yeah, I have hair loss. But guess what? That happened when I was still producing a lot of testosterone. Men that get hair loss, it's generally going to happen in their younger ages. It's not really from testosterone. It's from something called DHT. Okay. And there's a saturation level where if DHT gets above a certain level, it doesn't matter how much testosterone that you have. So if you get hair loss or are going to get it, it's probably going to happen well before you've started testosterone therapy. It's not going to cause that.
Yeah, I agree. So, testosterone has helped us both. We feel stronger as spouses, as providers, as parents. If you're struggling with weight loss or energy, libido, it's time to get your levels checked.
We would encourage you to ask questions. If you're unsure what a normal level is or how you should feel, ask questions, because the great thing that we have now is some pretty darn good experience behind this. We get to hear stories all the time of changing people's lives, really, and how they have such a better quality of life. And if you don't know, you don't know. It's one of those things. So get checked, ask questions, whether it's us or someone else. Start asking questions so you can have QTR, quality time remaining, like I've talked about on other podcasts.
Yeah. So thanks for listening today to Look Good and Feel Good with Matt and Amy. We appreciate you listening. And if you know anyone that needs to hear this, pass it along, share it. Thank you.
Share it. Share it. We love to share with everyone we possibly can.